Hey, so want to just do a really quick video on my way home here, talking about one of the things that most people are missing the point on, and that is the proofing stages. So everybody seems to do pretty well at the showing, and they kind of start teaching it, and they're like, "Oh, but my dog can't do it when there's distractions." Yeah, that's kind of how dogs work. That's what proofing is for. And if you're not doing a good job at the proofing portions or the proofing stages of the work, the stuff is almost like a parlor trick. Your dog will be able to do it when there's nothing going on. That is the whole point of show it in low level distractions, teach it with moderate level distractions, definitely things you control, and then start proofing it. And when you start proofing it, you really, if you can, control the level of distraction, control the environment, which doesn't mean go down the Centennial Trail or go to some busy park or busy shopping center or something necessarily. It kind of depends on your dog. If your dog is able to handle that level of distraction, then by all means do that. But if your dog's blowing up and can't function or do the base skills that you've been asking it to do, in whatever level of distraction you're trying to work it in, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not going anywhere. You're probably just fighting with your dog. So when you when you go out to work on these things, get the base skill, show that thing, and then start adding some moderate level distractions so you can see how your dog works with those little challenges that you can easily control. When you start getting into higher distractions and things that cause more arousal in your dog, their brain's not going to think the same way. So you're going to really want to do the same thing where you control the distractions, control that environment, and look for those base level skills and your dog's ability to do the work with those distractions present. I would equate it kind of to like people. You put people on the spot and they can't answer a darn question. Matter of fact, even students in class or even in a private lesson, they're trying to focus on the dog and trying to do the right things. They're trying to learn some kind of new skill. And then I'll tell them, hey, left hand with something, and they always grab with the right hand instead of the left hand, or hey, turn right, and they almost always turn left if they turn at all. But your mind locks up. And that's what happens to your dog with the distractions, right? They can't focus on that thing that you think they know, because they got other things on their mind. They got these distractions and these temptations or these stressors that they need to learn to work through and still be able to function. So how you get there? Well, I do setups. I control everything I can except for the dog if I can help it. If I have to control my dog all the time, I'm probably not doing anything worthwhile or worth doing. But if I can control those distractions and control the environment that I put my dog into at whatever level of knowledge and ability he has, then I don't have to control the dog. I control the other things. And eventually my dog learns to control itself, which is the whole goal of good training or solid training. So I'm not out there having to do any kind of hard corrections or any of that kind of stuff, because my dog's already got the ability to do the things, and I'm managing that environment and level of distractions in a way that my dog can gradually work through them. A lot of times what you'll see people doing is it's, in 5 minutes they showed a dog something and then all of a sudden they're proving it in distractions, but it's usually the result of flooding, what we will call it. There's Ghost. And basically that's the human or the handler end of the leash doing most of the work through tools like electronic collar, prong collars, whatever it might be, or just a little excessive pressure, as opposed to letting the dog figure out how to do the things and doing it itself. So really think about that when you're out getting frustrated with your dog because he can't do something. Well, he needs you to make it easier, and he needs to be able to repeat these things and try over and over. At a level of distraction that he can actually still think and function. Otherwise, it's just you doing the work for your dog, especially when you start relying upon tools and things. For me, for the most part, I am like leash and maybe flat collar, maybe slip collar, or martingale collar. I'm out proofing things. At some point, maybe we'll get into other things for proofing super high level stuff with higher level skills. But realistically, I don't really need the tools because my dog's at a working level for the dog. They know how to do the skills, and I don't need the tools to force the dog through or help them through that tool so much. Not saying that, or through the skill. Not saying that tools can't be helpful. They certainly can. But what I see a lot of times is people, they're kind of they're doing all the work and the dog is doing none of it, and they're using the tools to make it easier for the human to do all the work. And I see that over and over again with clients and with students, and the frustration takes over, and then they're pretty much being pretty rough with their dog in a situation where they don't have to. I see it all the time. I've even seen some pretty well-recognized celebrity-ish trainers out there doing the same thing. It's like, well, it's either you doing the work or the dog's doing the work. I want the dog to do the work, so I show them, I teach them, I proof it. Think about that. Do setups. I can set anything I want up, any level of distraction, any environment. Matter of fact, I can do setups that are so much more challenging than what real life should ever present, which is kind of my goal. That way, when I'm out in real life and weird things happen or things get exciting, my dog knows how to do it itself. I don't have to freak out and control the dog. Where this becomes, well, it's good for any dog, but where it becomes really important for me is I do a lot of very large dogs that can be very aggressive. Big Boerboels, Corsos, mixed breed Mastiffs, things like that. Plus some of these German Shepherds and Mals that get real hot with things. Things can go real bad real quick if you are trying to force that dog to do. You can get redirected aggression or just redirection bites, all kinds of different things that you don't want to mess with, especially when it's a big dog, or you can get pulled down, drugged down, get somebody else hurt, and then liability starts kicking into the picture. So set these things up in controlled environments, controlled levels of distraction at your dog's working level, and then push it a little bit. We always push that whole 80% success rate, 20% more challenging for the dog. And that could be in skill or level of distraction. But don't fall into that trap of, hey, let me go out and flood my dog into areas it's not ready for, right? It's kind of like giving somebody like the skills of a first grade math student and then saying, yeah, here, calculus test, dude, you should be prepared. We gave you math knowledge. Don't do that to your dog.